One of the most powerful principles I ever learned was this: wealth doesn't grow from how much you make, it grows from the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That little space, the difference between income and expenses, is where freedom is born. If there's no space, there's no growth. And if there's no growth, your financial future will look exactly like your financial past. I've met people making 6 figures a year who were broke, and others making far less who were wealthy. The difference wasn't talent or opportunity, it was discipline. The wealthy had created a margin. They lived on less than they earned, and they let that margin work for them instead of disappearing into lifestyle upgrades. When I first started, I made it a personal challenge to always keep my expenses well below my income. Even when things got better, I resisted the temptation to upgrade everything. That discipline created a surplus, and that surplus became investments, and those investments began to work for me, even while I slept. Here's a simple step to start. This week, cut one non-essential expense. It might be a subscription you rarely use, a habit purchase, or a convenience you don't really need. Redirect that money straight into savings or investments. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about building a habit of creating space, because in that space, your wealth will take root and begin to grow. And over time, that little gap can change your entire financial life. If you've ever planted a tree, you know the first rule: protect the roots. Without the roots, there's no growth, no fruit, no shade. Your money works the same way. The capital you've built is the root system of your wealth, and you have to guard it like your life depends on it. Because here's the truth: a single bad decision can wipe out years, sometimes decades, of hard work, and it happens faster than you think. I've met people who spent years saving diligently, only to pour it all into a can't-miss opportunity they barely understood, because someone promised big returns. A few months later, not only was the money gone, but the confidence to try again had been crushed. That's the other cost of losing your capital. It's not just the dollars, it's the belief you can build again. That's why I have a simple rule: never put money into something you don't fully understand. If you can't explain to a 10-year-old how it works and how it makes a profit, you're not ready to invest in it. And everyone's doing it is not an explanation. You don't get rich by being part of the herd. You get rich by protecting your base while growing it steadily. Before I commit a single dollar, I take out a sheet of paper and write down 3 things: the risk, the potential reward, and my exit plan. Risk: what could go wrong, and how likely is it? Reward: what's the real upside, and is it worth the risk? Exit plan: how and when will I get my money back if it doesn't work? If I can't answer those clearly, I don't proceed. Because once your capital is gone, the game changes. Protect it, guard it, let it grow, but never gamble it away on something you don't fully understand. The road to wealth is long enough. Don't let a single careless step send you back to the starting line. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that money doesn't grow in the dark. You can't just hope your finances are improving. You have to know, and the only way to know is to measure. What gets measured improves, and what goes unmeasured slowly slips away. Wealth doesn't disappear overnight. It leaks through unnoticed habits, quiet overspending, and investments you forgot to check. When I first started auditing my own money, I was shocked. There were small subscriptions I didn't even use anymore, impulse buys I'd forgotten about, and investments I hadn't reviewed in years. None of those alone were catastrophic, but together they were draining my potential. Once I saw where every dollar was going, I could redirect it to where it actually built something. That awareness alone changed the game. Here's how to make it practical. Set a recurring monthly review date. Put it on your calendar and treat it like an appointment you can't miss. On that day, sit down and look at three things: how much came in, how much went out, and how much your assets have grown. If the numbers aren't moving in the right direction, don't panic. Just adjust. Maybe you cut an expense. Maybe you shift an investment. Maybe you set a new income target. When you make this a habit, something powerful happens. Your financial life stops running on autopilot. You become intentional. And over time, those small monthly adjustments compound into a massive change in direction. Because wealth isn't built in one big move. It's built in the consistent, deliberate course corrections you make along the way. When I think about freedom, I don't think about a beach or a vacation. I think about waking up in the morning and knowing my income showed up before I even got out of bed. That kind of freedom doesn't come from a bigger paycheck. It comes from building assets that pay you whether you work or not. And the bridge to get there is simple. Reinvest your profits until those assets can replace your job. Most people make a little extra money and immediately think of how to spend it. A new car, a better house, a few more luxuries. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying the rewards of your work. But if you take those rewards too soon, you rob your future self. The key is to let your money keep working until it can work without you. That's when you own your time. When I was starting out, every extra dollar I made went right back into something that could earn me more. If my small business made a profit, I didn't touch it for lifestyle. I put it into another venture, into a rental property, into dividend-paying investments. I watched my income streams multiply because I wasn't eating the seed, I was planting it. Here's the practical side. Track your passive income growth every month. Write it down, even if it's just $20 in interest or dividends. Watching that number grow is one of the most motivating things you can do. And as it grows, your dependence on your job shrinks. One day, you look at the numbers and realize your assets are paying for your life. That's the moment you cross over from working for money to having money work for you. And when that happens, you're not just free financially, you're free to decide exactly how you want to live the rest of your life. People often wait for the right amount of money before they begin. They tell themselves, once I have more, I'll start saving, I'll start investing, I'll start building wealth. But the truth is, if you can't manage a small amount, you won't manage a large one. The habits you build with $50 are the same habits you'll need with $50,000. The only difference is the number of zeros. When I first started, I didn't have much. I couldn't buy property. I couldn't invest in big business deals. And I certainly wasn't making headlines. But I could save a small portion. I could invest a little and watch it grow. And by doing that, I was training myself. It wasn't about the amount. It was about the discipline, the consistency, and the belief that small beginnings can grow into something remarkable. Most people underestimate the power of starting now, no matter how small. They think their $50 investment won't make a difference. But here's the truth. The difference isn't in the $50, it's in the mindset. By taking action with what you have, you cross a line most people never cross. You stop being a dreamer and start being a doer. And once you're in motion, momentum begins to work in your favor. So here's the practical step. Open an investment account with your first $50. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for a bigger paycheck. Don't wait for someday. Start with what's in your hand right now. The moment you begin, you've already separated yourself from the crowd. Because wealth doesn't require a grand beginning. It requires a beginning. And the sooner you start, the sooner you give your future a chance to be something extraordinary. There comes a point when money stops being just about you. You've paid your bills, secured your freedom, maybe even enjoyed a few luxuries. But the highest use of wealth is when it outlives you, when it becomes a tool for your family, your community, and generations you'll never meet. That's when money gains a purpose beyond the present moment. Legacy isn't just about leaving something behind. It's about leaving something that continues to grow. Think of a fruit tree. You can eat the fruit yourself, but if you plant the seeds from that fruit, long after you're gone, someone else will still be eating from the tree you planted. That's the mindset you need when you think about building assets. Whether it's property, a business, royalties, or investments, the goal is to create something that can keep working after you're no longer here to work it. When I was younger, I didn't think much about this. My focus was survival, then freedom. But as time passed, I realized that the true reward of wealth isn't just financial security. It's the ability to pass on both assets and the wisdom to use them well. Because if you give the next generation money without principles, you've given them a curse, not a blessing. But if you give them both the tools and the philosophy, you give them the power to multiply it. So here's the practical step. Draft a plan, not just a will that says who gets what, but a blueprint that explains why you built it, how you protected it, and how you expect it to grow. Teach those you love the values behind the numbers. Money will fade if the mind managing it is weak, but a strong philosophy will protect wealth for decades. In the end, real wealth isn't measured by what you keep. It's measured by what you leave behind that keeps on giving. Wealth is rarely a reward for simply showing up. It's almost always a reward for solving problems. And not just any problems, but the ones that matter. The ones that make life easier, faster, safer, or more enjoyable for others. The bigger the problem you can solve, the bigger the reward you can earn. That's the equation. Most people limit themselves to the problems right in front of them, the ones they can solve with little effort and little risk. But here's the truth. Small problems bring small paychecks, and big problems bring big opportunities. If you want your value in the marketplace to grow, you've got to train your mind to see what most people overlook: the inefficiencies, the frustrations, the gaps that no one has addressed yet. I remember when I first shifted my focus from my own needs to the needs of others. I stopped asking, how can I make more money? And started asking, what problems can I solve that people would gladly pay to have fixed? That change in thinking opened doors I didn't even know existed. It took my mind from scarcity to creativity, and creativity is the seed of wealth. Here's the practical step. Start a journal of problems. Keep it with you everywhere you go. Every time you notice an inconvenience, a broken system, or a wasted effort, write it down. Don't worry about how you'll solve it yet. The simple act of noticing will train your brain to look for opportunity. Over time, that journal will become a gold mine of ideas. Remember, money flows toward solutions, and the bigger the solution you bring to the world, the more the world will want to keep you close. The size of your income will always be in direct proportion to the size of the problems you're willing to tackle. One of the simplest yet most powerful truths I ever discovered is this: success leaves clues. Wealth doesn't just appear out of thin air, and those who've built it didn't do so by accident. They followed patterns, some conscious, some unconscious, but patterns nonetheless. If you want to build wealth faster, study the people who've already walked the path and pay attention to the steps they took. When I was young and broke, I didn't have many examples around me of financial success. But I had books, I had tapes, and eventually, I had mentors. I didn't just listen to them once, I absorbed their words until I could finish their sentences. I studied their routines, their decisions, and even the way they thought about opportunity. It's like learning a new language. The more you immerse yourself, the more fluent you become in the way wealth builders operate. The danger is that most people spend their time learning from the wrong teachers, people with loud opinions but no results. That's like taking swimming lessons from someone who's never been in the water. Find someone whose life reflects what you want, not just what they say. It doesn't matter if you meet them in person or through the pages of a book. The key is focus. So here's your practical step. Pick one mentor and go deep for 90 days. Read everything they've written, watch every interview, study their decisions. Don't dabble, immerse. Ask yourself constantly, how would they think about this problem? How would they approach this opportunity? By modeling their steps, you're not copying, you're learning the principles behind their success, and those principles will guide you long after the details have changed. I learned early that environment is more powerful than willpower. You can have the best intentions, but if you're surrounded by people who treat money carelessly, that carelessness will start to feel normal. And once it feels normal, it becomes easy to justify decisions that sabotage your future. On the other hand, when you spend time with people who are disciplined, investors who know their numbers, savers who respect every dollar, builders who think long-term, their habits start to rub off on you. You begin to think differently, talk differently, and make decisions differently. I remember being invited to a small dinner years ago where everyone at the table was talking about investments, market trends, and business opportunities. No one was complaining about the economy. No one was boasting about the latest gadget they'd bought. They were focused on building, multiplying, and preserving. I left that dinner with a notebook full of ideas and a new standard for the kinds of conversations I wanted to have. That single evening raised my awareness, and once your awareness goes up, it rarely comes back down. If you want to elevate your financial life, make it a priority to change the room you're in. Attend one wealth building group this month. It could be a local investment club, a real estate seminar, or even an online mastermind. But when you go, don't just be a spectator. Engage, ask questions, listen for patterns in how disciplined people make decisions. Take notes not just on their strategies, but on how they think. Over time, these relationships will challenge you, inspire you, and sometimes even pressure you into better habits. And that's the kind of pressure you want, the kind that stretches your capacity and forces you to rise to the level of the people you keep close. In money, as in life, proximity is power. When money comes into your hands without a plan, it tends to vanish like water through open fingers. I've seen people work for decades, earn hundreds of thousands, even millions, and still end up with nothing to show because they never gave their money clear instructions. Money without direction gets wasted. Money with a mission grows. That's why every dollar you earn needs a job before it ever hits your pocket. When I first began earning more than my basic expenses, I fell into the trap of letting my lifestyle grow with my income. A little extra came in, and almost instantly I found ways to spend it. Nicer dinners, better clothes, small luxuries that didn't really move the needle. It wasn't until I decided to divide my money into clear categories, living, investing, learning, and giving, that my wealth truly began to compound. Suddenly, I wasn't reacting to money, I was directing it. Living covers your essential needs, and yes, some enjoyment, but it's capped so it doesn't devour your future. Investing is the engine that builds your freedom. Learning is where you buy wisdom, books, courses, seminars, because if your mind doesn't grow, your money won't either. And giving keeps you grounded, reminding you that wealth has a purpose beyond yourself. The strategy isn't just in dividing, it's in automating. I set up my account so the moment money came in, it was split and transferred without me having to think about it. That one move took discipline out of the realm of daily decision-making and made it part of the system. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will decide for you. and it rarely chooses the future you want. Treat every dollar like an employee. Hire it, give it a role, and expect it to bring results. That's how you turn income into lasting wealth. When I look back at the seasons when my income took its biggest leaps, they weren't because the economy suddenly shifted in my favor or because I stumbled onto some secret investment. They happened because I became more valuable. The marketplace doesn't pay for time, it pays for value. And the only way to earn more in the long run is to become worth more. That's why upgrading your skills isn't just a career move, it's a wealth-building move. Early on, I realized that my paycheck was tied directly to the problems I could solve. If I could only do what most people could do, I would earn what most people earned. But when I learned to sell effectively, to lead a team, to communicate a vision, doors opened that I didn't even know existed. A high-income skill is like a key. It unlocks opportunities that others can't reach. The beautiful part is, skills compound just like money. You invest an hour a day in learning something new, sales, leadership, marketing, negotiation, and over time, the effect is exponential. You're not just adding information, you're building mastery. The difference between someone who knows about a skill and someone who has mastered it can be the difference between a $50,000 income and a $500,000 income. Don't wait for your job or circumstances to demand that you grow. Lead the way. Pick one skill that you know would make you more valuable in your current work or in a future opportunity, and commit to working on it every day. An hour might not seem like much, but over a year, that's over 300 hours of focused improvement. Money flows to value. When you make yourself more valuable, you don't have to chase opportunity. It starts chasing you. I learned early that there's a big difference between making money and making money work for you. Wages will keep the lights on, pay the bills, and feed your family, and that's good. But wages alone will never buy you freedom. Wages come from your effort, your time, your direct involvement. Profits, on the other hand, come from systems, investments, and ventures that keep working whether you're on the job or on vacation. Wages make you a living. Profits give you freedom. The trap is, most people take every extra dollar they earn and turn it into more lifestyle instead of more profit. They get a raise, and suddenly they've got a new car payment. They land a bonus, and somehow the kitchen needs remodeling. The opportunity for freedom slips right through their fingers because they keep working for money instead of putting money to work for them. The shift happens when you decide that a portion of everything you earn will go to building profit-producing assets. That might be stocks, rental properties, a small business, or even intellectual property that earns royalties. The principle is simple. Take 20% of your earnings before you upgrade your lifestyle and channel it into something that has the potential to produce income on its own. When I started doing this, the first checks from those investments were small, but over time, the profits began to match my wages, and eventually, they exceeded them. That's when you discover real freedom, when your money has taken over the job of producing your income. If you keep trading hours for dollars, you'll always be limited by the hours you can work. But if you make the decision to turn a portion of your income into profits, your income can grow beyond your personal capacity. That's when you stop just making a living and start making a life. Some people think giving should wait until they have enough. But I can tell you, if you're not willing to give $1 out of 10, you won't suddenly start giving 10,000 out of 100,000. Giving is a habit, not a windfall event. I started when I had very little. Sometimes all I could offer was a small gift or an evening of my time to help someone in need. But those moments shaped my relationship with money. They reminded me that wealth isn't just about accumulation, but about contribution. The strategy is simple. Decide on a percentage of your income that you will give away and make it non-negotiable, whether it's 5%, 10%, or more. Commit to it as if it were the most important bill you have to pay. Use that portion to lift others, support a cause, help someone in crisis, fund opportunities for people who might never get them otherwise. The return on that kind of investment isn't always financial, but it's always powerful. I've noticed this: when you give, you tend to grow. Your network expands, your perspective widens, and your sense of purpose deepens. Money is a tool, and giving sharpens your skill in using it well. The more you let it flow, the more it finds its way back, often multiplied.